If you're looking for a high-performance smartphone in the 25 to 30,000 rupee price range, the Galaxy F62 is probably a great choice. It's got a high-end flagship-level processor, up to 8 gigs of RAM, 6.7-inch Super AMOLED Plus display, and a 7000 mAh battery. You also get a quad-camera setup, a 32-megapixel front-facing camera, and a super unique, never-seen-before design on a Galaxy smartphone. Along with the phone, you get a 25-watt super-fast charger, a USB Type-C cable for charging, and an ejection pin. There's no earphones in the box, no protective casing, and there is no pre-applied screen protector, so these might be costs that you have to incur later. But let's talk about that design first. It's nothing like Samsung has ever done before, and honestly, some might hate it and some might like it. It's definitely different and has a very unique touch to it, and can easily be the defining F series signature look. It's plastic at the back and it's got this very thin grid of lines along with this beautiful blue gradient that flows from the top and fades away at the bottom. The gradient design, it runs along the edges of the phone as well, so it feels very seamless. The power button is also the fingerprint scanner for unlocking. And I honestly prefer these physical fingerprint readers over the in-display fingerprint scanners because they're actually faster and more reliable. Now you also get the 3.5mm headphone jack, and it already feels so old to have that in a phone, but hey, it's there if you need it, and it's better to have that flexibility than to not. On the side, you've got the SIM card tray that can house 2 SIM cards and 1 microSD card, all 3 simultaneously. And just something to highlight, the back panel is quite reflective and definitely a fingerprint magnet. This back is also bound to lose this shine and texture over a period of time, and I highly recommend that you get some sort of protective casing to increase the life of this back panel. Oh, and by the way, this is also as good as a power bank. It's 7000 mAh battery, so you can connect one end of the cable to the phone and the other end to pretty much anything that you want to charge. It could be another phone, or it could be a case of earbuds, and that'll get charged. So that's pretty good. Only the bottom-firing speakers are actual speakers. The earpiece is just for talking, so that does not double as a speaker. So there's no stereo output. Probably something that Samsung can push into its future devices or similar devices, but for now, it's not. Now, just talking from an ergonomic perspective, it's got a 7000 mAh battery. That means it's going to be heavy, so don't be surprised or shocked. If you want that kind of monstrous battery capacity, it's got to have some weight. And it's a 6.7-inch display, which means it's going to be big in size, and it's not something that you can easily use with just one hand. I use the S21 Ultra as my daily driver. It's 6.8 inches, but again, it's not easy to use with just one hand, and even that phone is pretty heavy in my opinion. Now, the Galaxy F62 has a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED Plus display with an FHD Plus resolution. The front of the phone has this 3D cut glass design. It's slightly elevated, actually, that gives it that 3D look. The colors, the vibrancy, and the contrast on that display is stunning, and as you'd expect from a Super AMOLED display. The peak brightness is somewhere about 400 to 420 nits, which is sufficient even in the brightest of the days outdoors, so you really won't have any issues in visibility when you're outside. Now let's talk about that software. The F62 ships with Android 11, One UI Core 3.1. The user experience is super smooth, it feels very snappy, and for some reason, the display seems smoother to me than most 60fps displays that I've ever used. The phone has the NFC version of Samsung Pay, so you can use it to store your credit cards and make payments on machines that accept physical credit cards. You also get Secure Folder, so you can set up your personal secure zone and keep your photos, your videos, your conversations, and files super safe and secure. The F62 also comes with the Alt-Z feature that allows you to switch to the secure zone with double pressing the power button, and then get out of it just as easily. I've done a full video explaining multiple uses and benefits of Alt-Z feature, so there's a video in the top right corner. You can definitely check that out, but let's continue with the review for now. You get the new features like Link to Windows, so you can connect your phone to your Windows 10 PC and manage notifications as well as use your phone from the PC. You get Screen Recorder, Eye Comfort Shield, and Dolby Atmos, among other things that are all good to see on this phone. You also get edge panels that you can configure and add more edge panels from your Galaxy Store to make your phone more productive for you. Now, the phone may have a couple of preloaded apps that you may not require, so you can always long press on them and then tap uninstall. So Samsung allows you to remove these apps if you don't need them and just, have a cleaner phone for yourself. But hey, let's talk about why this phone is really good for its price, and that is because of performance. The phone features Exynos 9825 processor, which is what a flagship phone like the Galaxy S10 series would have had 2 years back. It's still a very powerful processor to have, and while the phone does not support 5G, it still is an extremely capable, fast processor, especially for multitasking and gaming. I played Call of Duty and Asphalt 9 for quite some time, and I was stunned at the graphic quality, the smooth gameplay, loading speeds, and responsiveness. The phone did not heat up, there was no lag or frame drops, and the games played consistently at nearly 60 FPS. But again, I just wish that they had stereo sound, and that would have just completed the gaming experience, Great gaming performance, great display, and then I would have had that stereo sound coming out of the phone. That's the only piece missing. And now let's talk about the camera. The F62 has a quad camera setup with the main sensor being 64 megapixel. All the other specs are right here in front of you. You also get a 32 megapixel front-facing camera, and the cameras can record 4K videos up to 30 FPS. Now here are some samples that I took using the main sensor in default 12 megapixel mode. Although it can support 64 megapixel shots, they're just more detailed and a bit heavier in file size. Here's a direct comparison between the primary and the ultra-wide lens. I do think both lenses are super, but the ultra-wide lens does have better dynamic range. As you can see, the shadows being darker and the highlights are managed much better. And guys, all of these images will be made download, so you can find the link in the description below, download these images and evaluate the quality for yourself. And in the downloads, I'll also add some low light shots so you know the performance of the lenses in low light. And here's 2 photos that I took using the portrait shot just to sort of figure out how good the edge detection is, and I think it's pretty good. These are shots that I took using the macro, the 5 megapixel macro lens. I'm not sure how many of you really use that lens. It's there for you to use it, but I actually prefer the focus enhancer concept that came with the S21 series for macro shots. And let's also talk about the camera software. Now we know it's running Android 11, One UI Core 3.1, so it does borrow some of the new features and benefits that we saw with the S21 series launch. For example, you don't see live focus and live focus video anymore, you see portrait and portrait video. However, you don't get the new effects that comes with the new portrait mode. So you get your standard effects that were there with the earlier version, and that is a little disappointing, but let's hope that they can add some, if not all, the effects that came with the new portrait mode. In addition to the ones that you see up front, there are a couple of other modes. For example, there's portrait video that I spoke about, super slow-mo, hyperlapse, and pro video. And within pro mode, you can control pretty much all settings. For example, the white balance, the ISO, the aperture, and manual focus. So you get all the options which you do with other phones as well. Now within the photo mode, you do have the 64 megapixel mode, which is not turned on by default, and you're gonna have to switch over if you want to take those high quality, high detail shots. Also, you can't shoot at 60 FPS, so you can only shoot up to 30 FPS, just a limitation. And if let's say you're walking or running fast and you want to be able to shoot a smooth video, you do get super steady mode. However, that's limited to full HD, that's 1080p video quality and not in 4K. And now let's talk about that battery life. 7000 milliampere hour is a lot. It's monstrous. It's a lot of juice. It's as good as a... And now let's talk about that battery capacity. 7000 milliampere hours is a lot. I mean, that's a lot of juice. It's as good as a battery pack in itself. And this can last you for 2 days under moderate use. I mean, sure, if you're binge gaming or if you're binge watching TV shows, you can dry the battery out pretty easily. But on a moderate scale, this would go on for 2 days. So if you're looking for that kind of battery capacity, this phone is to go for. I think there's a Galaxy M51 that also offers 7000 mAh, but this just has better internals and I think it'll perform better. So this would be the phone to go for over the M51 also. So to conclude, the F62 is a great choice if you're looking for one of the highest performing smartphones in terms of speed and battery capacity within the 25,000-30,000 rupee range. It also offers certain inbuilt features like Samsung Pay, secure folder, Alt-Z, link to Windows, Dolby Atmos, and the fact that it belongs to the Samsung ecosystem are all great add-ons to have on your phone. It's dual SIM, it can support microSD card storage expansion, so the phone offers a ton of flexibility. And it comes with a earphone jack. The display is really good for this price too. The only things that you need to think about is that A, you don't get earphones, no protective casing, and no screen protector pre-applied, so those are all costs that you'll have to add if in case you want to get them. There is no stereo sound and you cannot shoot at 60 frames per second. It's limited to 30 FPS video recording. Also, this is One UI Core 3.1, not One UI 3.1. So not all features and services that you get with One UI 3.1 are available. And if you know what good lock is and you want to be able to use that, no luck, guys. I tried installing and you can't. You'll have to start at A series. The M series and the F series are just not going to support good lock for now. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. And if I don't think these are deal breakers, but if they are for you, it's my responsibility to mention that to you. All right, that's it on the Galaxy F62, guys. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. And as always, if you've loved the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell notification icon. I'll see you guys in the next one.